All right, everyone. Welcome to another deep dive with us. And today we're looking at something pretty cool.
Yeah, pretty cool. I would say pretty cool is a good description.
Yeah. So today we're going to be diving into this VR app that I found recently. It's called VRShogiMates.
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 I like it.
And it's pretty cool. As you can tell by the name, it's about shogi.
It's not just about shogi, though.
It is not just about shogi.
No. There's more there.
Yeah. So it's also about shogi, which we'll get into later. Chess and shanki.
Yes.
And gungi.
Yeah, gungi.
From Hunter x Hunter.
Now you're speaking my language.
Yeah.
That's what caught my attention, too. I got to be honest, like, I saw the name, I was like, shogi? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
But then, they hit you with the gungi, and I was like, hold on a second.
Yeah, I know.
I got to check this out.
That was the same thing for me.
Yeah.
As soon as I saw gungi on there, I was like, okay, what is this?
What is going on here?
What's happening here? Because it seems like a really, really cool idea.
It is very cool.
Yeah. So before we get too deep into it, I just wanted to mention that the entire app is available on MetaQuest App Lab and Steam.
Yeah, you can get it right now, go and download it, and then come back and listen to the rest of this, and then dive back into the game.
Yeah, go check it out, play it a little bit.
Yeah.
And then come back and we'll dive into like the nitty-gritty here.
Get a little feel for it,
Yeah, so I guess first off, let's just talk about like the different game types, because that's what really caught my attention.
Yeah, it's interesting, right?
Yeah.
Because like you said, you've got your classics, your shogi and your chess. But then they also have these like lesser known games like the Chu Shogi and Gungi, and you don't really see those very often in video games.
Right, exactly, especially in VR.
Yeah, especially in VR.
You just don't see that.
I think it speaks to the developers' passion for these games.
Right.
That they wanted to include them and bring them to a wider audience,
Yeah.
And that's what I really appreciate about this. You can tell that it's a passion project.
Yeah.
It's not just some generic VR game churned out by a big company.
Yeah.
This is someone who loves these games and wants to share that love with the world.
Yeah, and that's really apparent from like the moment you boot it up.
Yeah.
You can tell that there was a lot of love and care put into this.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I guess we can start talking about like the different game types a little bit more in depth. So obviously we have shogi.
Yeah, the classic.
Yeah. Chess, which I think most people are familiar with.
Right. We don't need to spend too much time on those.
Yeah. So let's get into some of the more obscure ones.
Okay.
So Chu Shogi. What is Chu Shogi?
So Chu Shogi is like shogi,
Okay.
but bigger
Okay.
and better.
All right. I like it.
It's like if you took shogi and you cranked it up to 11.
Okay.
You've got a board that's twice the size of a regular shogi board.
Wow.
And there are like, I don't even know how many pieces there are, like over 20 different types of pieces, each with their own unique movements and abilities.
Okay, so it's definitely like a much longer game than regular shogi.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Games can last for hours.
Wow.
But it's a truly epic experience. If you're a serious strategy fan,
Okay.
Chu Shogi is definitely worth checking out.
I will have to check that out.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Now, Gungi is where I'm interested because I've seen it in Hunter x Hunter, like I mentioned.
Yeah, me too.
But I don't really know the rules.
It's a little bit more obscure.
Yeah.
It's not as well known.
Yeah. So can you explain Gungi to me?
So imagine chess.
Okay.
But instead of moving your pieces on a flat board,
Okay.
you stack them on top of each other.
Okay.
And you capture pieces by moving a piece on top of your opponent's piece.
Okay.
So you're constantly trying to figure out what pieces are hidden beneath the top pieces.
Okay. So there's an element of like bluffing.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a combination of chess and poker. And it's really cool to see it in VR because you can actually like see the pieces stacked on top of each other.
Oh, cool.
And you can like pick them up and move them around, and it just feels really immersive.
So like you can physically lift the pieces up in VR.
Yeah.
To see what's underneath.
Exactly.
That's really cool.
It's awesome.
Okay, so we've got Chu Shogi, which is like shogi but way bigger. We've got chess, we've got gungi, and then there's also shanki, which is Chinese chess.
Right.
I'm not as familiar with shanki, so can you tell me a little bit about that one?
So Xianqi is similar to Western chess.
Okay.
But it has its own unique board and pieces.
Okay.
So the board has this river in the middle
Okay.
that divides the board into two territories.
Uh-huh.
And some pieces have restricted movement across the river.
Okay.
So it adds a whole other layer of strategy to the game.
Okay.
And the pieces themselves are also different. They have different names and different movement patterns.
So it's not just like a reskinned version of chess.
No. It's its own distinct game. with its own rich history and traditions.
So this app really does have like a really diverse range of games.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Like I was not expecting to see all of these different games in one place.
I know, right?
And all in VR.
Yeah, it's incredible.
It's really cool.
It's like a dream come true for board game lovers.
It is.
Like you can play all of your favorite board games in VR with people from all over the world.
Yeah, and what's really cool is that it's not just like you're playing on a flat board.
Right.
Like they've really gone above and beyond with the environments.
Yeah, the environments are beautiful.
Yeah.
Like each game has its own unique environment.
Yeah.
And they're all really well done.
Yeah, so it really feels like you're immersed in the game.
Absolutely.
Like you're not just playing a game, you're in the game.
Yeah, it's a whole experience.
Yeah.
It's not just a game, it's an experience.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
So we've talked about the different game types and we've talked about the environments a little bit, but one of the things that I was really impressed by was the developer's commitment to updating the game.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I've been following this game for a few weeks now, and they've already released, like, several updates.
Yeah.
With new features and bug fixes, and it's clear that they're really listening to the community.
They're very active on Discord.
Yeah.
And they're always taking feedback and suggestions from the players.
Yeah, and that's something that I really appreciate because it shows that they're really invested in making this game the best it can be.
Absolutely.
And they're not just like, releasing it and then forgetting about it.
Right.
You're actually like actively working on it and improving it.
Yeah, it's a living, breathing project.
Yeah. And I think that's really cool.
It is very cool.
So yeah, we've talked about like the core of the game, the different game types, the environments, the developer's commitment to updating it.
Yeah.
But let's get into some of the more specific features.
Okay, let's dive in.
So one of the things that I was really excited about was the multiplayer modes.
Yeah, the multiplayer's great.
So you can play real-time matches, or you can play turn-based matches.
Yes.
And I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, the turn-based mode is especially great for games like Shogi and Gungi.
Right, because those games can take a long time.
Oh, yeah.
So it's nice to be able to play a move and then
come back to it later.
Come back to it later.
You know when you have time?
Yeah.
And the way they've implemented it is really clever.
Yeah.
So each room lasts for 3 days.
Okay.
And your player character stays in the room, too.
Oh, okay.
So even if you leave and come back, you'll be right where you left off.
So, like, I could start a game of Shogi, leave, come back, like, 2 days later.
Yep.
And my character will still be sitting there waiting for me.
Exactly.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's really convenient.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the multiplayer modes are really well done.
Yeah, I'm impressed.
Another feature that I thought was really cool was the learner mode.
Oh, yeah, the learner mode is fantastic.
So can you tell me a little bit about the learner mode?
So the learner mode is basically a way for you to learn the rules of the game.
Okay.
And it's really well done. So it shows you legal moves. It shows you the names of the pieces.
Okay.
It even shows you the board numbering.
Okay.
So you can really get a good understanding of how the game works.
Okay, so we've got the multiplayer modes. We've got the learner mode.
Are there any downsides?
Yeah, so there are a few things that I've noticed that I'm not a huge fan of.
Okay.
One of the biggest ones is that there's no AI opponents.
Yeah, that's a bit of a bummer.
Yeah, like I would love to be able to just like jump in and play a quick game against an AI.
Yeah.
But right now you can only play against other people.
Right. It's all focused on human interaction.
Yeah, which is cool.
Yeah.
But sometimes you just want to like,
Yeah, practice.
Practice or,
Yeah.
just play a quick game without having to wait for someone to join your room.
Right.
So that's definitely something that I hope they add in the future.
Yeah, me too.
But I did read that some people have found a workaround for this.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So apparently what you can do is you can use the Quest browser to play against AI on external websites.
Okay.
And then you can mirror those moves in VR.
Oh, interesting.
So you're basically like playing against the AI on the website, but you're seeing the moves happen in VR.
Okay, that's pretty clever.
Yeah. It's a little bit of a hassle.
Yeah.
But it's better than nothing.
Yeah, I guess so.
So yeah, that's one way to get your AI fix if you're willing to put in the extra effort.
Yeah.
Another thing that I've noticed is that the controls can be a little bit finicky.
Yeah, I've heard that from a few people.
Yeah, so like moving the pieces around and rotating them, it can be a little bit tough to get the hang of.
Yeah, it takes some getting used to.
Yeah, and it's not like it's bad. It's just that it's not as intuitive as I would like it to be.
Yeah.
But to be fair, it is VR.
Yeah.
And VR controls are always a little bit janky.
True.
So I'm not too surprised.
Yeah.
But it's definitely something that I hope they improve in the future.
Yeah, me too.
So yeah, those are the two main downsides that I've noticed.
Okay.
But overall, I'm really impressed with this app.
Yeah, me too.
Like, I think it has a lot of potential.
Yeah, it's a really cool idea.
Yeah. And I'm excited to see where they take it in the future.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what they've had next.
Yeah. So, speaking of the future,
Yes.
they have a lot of cool stuff planned.
They do.
So, one of the things that they're working on is a clock for timed games.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, because right now there's no time limit.
Right.
The games can potentially go on forever.
Yeah, especially Shogi.
Yeah, especially Shogi.
Yeah, you need a clock for that.
Yeah, so adding a clock is definitely a good move.
Yeah, it'll make the games more competitive.
Yeah.
And it'll prevent people from taking forever to make their moves.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
They're also planning to add some basic social features.
Oh, cool.
Like usernames and messaging.
Okay.
So you can actually like talk to the people you're playing with.
Yeah, it's good.
Which is nice.
Yeah.
But the really big thing that they're planning is clubs.
Clubs.
Yeah, so they want to create clubs for each game.
Wow.
So there would be like a Shogi club,
Uh-huh.
a Shogi club,
Okay.
a chess club,
A gungi club.
a gungi club,
Okay.
a shangi club, and each club would have its own virtual clubhouse.
Wow. So you could like hang out with other people who play the same game as you.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool.
And you could learn from masters
Oh, that's awesome.
and participate in tournaments.
That's a really cool idea.
Yeah, I think it's a really cool idea.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's something that I'm really excited about.
Me too.
They're also planning to add spectator mode.
Spectator mode.
Yeah, so you can watch other people's games.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so if you're like waiting for your turn in a turn-based game, you can watch other people play.
Okay.
Or if you just want to like learn from the pros,
Yeah.
you can watch their games.
Okay.
So yeah, they have a lot of really cool stuff planned for the future.
Yeah, it sounds like they have a really good vision for this app.
Yeah, I think.
And they're clearly passionate about it.
Yeah, and they're listening to the community.
Yeah. Which is important.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of developers just kind of do their own thing. And they don't really listen to what the players want.
Yeah.
But these guys are different.
Yeah, they're actually like engaging with the community.
Yeah.
And taking their feedback into consideration.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Yeah, it is.
So yeah, I'm really excited to see what they do with this app.
Me too.
But before we get too carried away with the future,
Yeah.
let's bring it back to the present.
Okay.
So I guess let's just like give a quick overview of each game
Right.
for people who might not be familiar with them.
Okay.
So we'll start with Shogi.
Okay, so Shogi is often referred to as Japanese chess.
Okay.
And it's a game of strategy
Uh-huh.
where you try to capture your opponent's king.
Okay.
But the cool thing about Shogi is that you can bring back captured pieces as your own.
Oh, wow.
So you're not just fighting for territory, you're also managing a reserve of potential reinforcements.
Okay. So it's like chess,
Yeah,
but with a comeback mechanic.
exactly.
I like it.
Yeah, it's a really cool twist.
Okay, so that's Shogi. What about Shogi?
So Shogi is like Shogi on steroids.
Okay.
It's a much larger and more complex game
Okay.
with a wider variety of pieces and a board that's twice the size of a regular Shogi board.
Wow.
So games can last for hours.
Okay, so this is for the serious Shogi players.
Yeah, if you're a serious strategy fan,
Okay.
Shogi is definitely worth checking out.
Okay.
It's a truly epic experience.
Okay, so I've got Shogi, we've got Shogi.
Uh-huh.
What about Xianqi?
So Xianqi is Chinese chess,
Okay.
and it also has some similarities to Western chess.
Okay.
But it has its own unique board layout and pieces.
Okay.
So the board has this river in the middle
Uh-huh.
that divides the board into two territories.
Okay.
And some pieces have restricted movement across the river,
Okay.
so it adds a whole other layer of strategy to the game.
Okay.
And the pieces themselves are also different.
Okay.
They have different names and different movement patterns.
So it's not just like a reskinned version of chess?
No. It's its own distinct game. Okay. With its own rich history and traditions.
Okay, so Xianqi is Chinese chess.
Yeah.
And it's its own unique game.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then we have Gungi,
Gungi.
which is a game from Hunter x Hunter.
Yes.
And Gungi is a really interesting game
Go.
because it's like a vertical chess match.
Okay.
So the pieces are stacked on top of each other,
Uh-huh.
and you capture pieces by moving a piece on top of your opponent's piece.
Okay.
So you're constantly trying to figure out what pieces are hidden beneath the top pieces.
Okay, so there's an element of bluffing.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
It's like a combination of chess and poker.
Interesting.
And it's really cool to see it in VR.
Yeah.
Because you can actually like see the pieces stacked on top of each other.
Yeah.
And you can like pick them up and move them around. And
Yeah.
it just feels really immersive.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
So we've got Shogi,
Uh-huh.
we've got Chu Shogi,
Yep.
we've got Shanky,
Right.
and we've got Gungi,
Yes.
all in one app.
All in VR.
It's pretty amazing.
It is pretty amazing.
Like, I'm really impressed with this app.
Yeah, me too.
Like I said, I think it has a lot of potential.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see where they take it.
Yeah, me too.
So yeah, I think that's a good place to wrap up this part of the deep dive.
Okay.
In the next part, we'll talk about some of the more like nuanced aspects of the game,
Right.
like the different environments
Okay.
and the way that the game is presented,
Yeah.
and the overall like feel of the game.
Okay.
So yeah, stay tuned for that.
All right. It's pretty cool how they managed to get all of these different games into one app.
Yeah, and it's not just like a bunch of different rule sets slapped together.
Right, right.
Like they've really captured the essence of each game.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, totally. Like, even like the little details. Like,
Yeah.
for example, in Shogi, there's this whole element of etiquette and respect. Like, you bow to your opponent at the beginning and the end of the match.
Oh yeah.
And there are specific ways to handle the pieces.
Yeah.
And they actually implemented all of that in the game.
You can actually bow in the VR space.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, it's like those little touches that really make it feel authentic.
Yeah.
Like you're actually playing shogi.
Yeah. It's not just like you're moving pieces around on a board.
Right.
It's like you're actually participating in this like cultural tradition.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's not just shogi either.
Right.
Like all of the games have these little details that make them feel really authentic.
Yeah.
Like the Gungi room is like straight out of the anime.
Oh, yeah.
It's like all dark and mysterious.
Yeah.
And the pieces look exactly like they do in the show.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's really cool.
It's like they really did their research.
Yeah.
And they put a lot of care into making sure that each game feels authentic.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things that makes this app so special.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, you can tell that the developer is passionate about these games, and they want to share that passion with the world.
Yeah, and I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
So we've talked about the different game types.
Yep.
We've talked about the environments.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about the developer's commitment to updating the game.
Yeah. What else is there to talk about?
Well, I guess we can talk about the future of the app.
Oh, yeah, the roadmap is pretty exciting.
Yeah. They have a lot of cool stuff planned.
Yeah, they do.
So we already mentioned the clubs,
Mm-hmm.
but I just want to reiterate how cool I think that is.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
Like, imagine a virtual shogi club
yeah.
where you can meet up with other shogi players
Yeah.
and learn from masters
Uh-huh.
and participate in tournaments.
Yeah, and you could have like a virtual dojo
Yeah.
where you could practice your moves.
Yeah, it would be so cool.
Yeah, and they could even have like live lectures and stuff
Yeah.
from like famous shogi players.
Yeah, like grandmasters and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, and it's not just shogi either. Right.
Like, they're planning to have clubs for all of the games.
Yeah.
So you could find a community of people who play your favorite game,
Yeah.
no matter what it is.
Yeah, and I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it's more than just a game.
Right.
It's like a social experience.
Yeah, it's like a community.
Yeah.
A community of people who love board games.
Yeah, and that's something that I think is really special.
Yeah, me too.
And they're also planning to add spectator mode.
Oh, yeah. Spectator mode's going to be great.
Yeah, so you can watch other people play
Yeah.
and learn from their strategies.
Yeah, and it'll be really cool to watch, like, the pro matches.
Yeah.
Like, the tournaments and stuff.
Yeah, like imagine watching a Gungi tournament in VR.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah, and you could like see the pieces moving around,
Uh-huh.
and you could hear the commentators talking about the match.
Yeah, and you could see the players' reactions,
Yeah.
like when they make a good move or a bad move.
Yeah, it would be so immersive. Yeah, it would be like you're actually there
Yeah.
in the audience.
So yeah, I think spectator mode is going to be a really cool addition to the app.
Yeah, me too.
So we've talked about the clubs.
Yeah.
We've talked about spectator mode.
Yeah.
What else do they have planned?
Well, they're also planning to add more games.
More games.
Yeah, like they're talking about adding 3-player shogi and 4-player shogi.
Wow.
And Tai Shogi.
What's Tai Shogi?
Tai Shogi is like a giant version of shogi
Okay.
with like over 200 pieces
Wow.
and a board that's like 10 feet long.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's insane.
Okay, so they're really going all out with this.
Yeah, they're not messing around.
Yeah, they're like, this is the ultimate board game app.
Yeah, exactly.
You're going to have every board game ever
Yeah.
in VR.
And they're all going to be awesome. So, yeah, I'm really excited to see what they do with this app.
Yeah, me too.
Like, I think it has the potential to be something truly special.
Yeah, I think it already is something special.
Yeah.
Like, even in its current state,
Yeah.
it's already an amazing app.
Yeah. It's really fun.
Yeah, and it's only going to get better.
Exactly.
So yeah, I highly recommend checking it out.
Yeah, if you're a fan of board games,
Yeah.
or if you're just curious about VR,
Yeah.
you should definitely give this app a try.
All right, so I guess that's about it for this deep dive.
Yeah, I think we covered everything.
Yeah, we talked about the different game types. We talked about the environments.
Yeah.
We talked about the developer's commitment to updating the game.
Right.
We talked about the future of the app.
Yeah.
I think we pretty much covered everything.
Yeah, I think so.
So, yeah, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
And we'll see you next time.
See ya.
And for those of you watching on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe.